Hello, my friends. Thank you for joining me again another time for us to talk in intimacy about sexuality and challenges that we as women, as females, we face in this area of our lives. Today, we're going to talk about a very heavy topic, abuse in women. And it is very close to my heart because I find in my practice, as I counsel women, as I do sex therapy, that a lot of brokenness, a lot of issues come from early on life abuse. And why do I find such a high number of women who go back and stay in abusive relationships? And sometimes it's because they do not understand what abuse is. They don't know the signs. They cannot recognize some of the red flags that are telling them you are in an abusive relationship. And I want us to be able to embrace younger women, women that are living in situations right now where maybe they're not experiencing abuse, but they're experiencing the ramifications of it, the consequences of it, and they still don't understand how to move from that and become fulfilled women. It is possible. I have hope for you. I have words of hope for you. It is possible to overcome and to be a person that is whole and that is beautiful and that can enjoy the pleasures of life, including your sexuality. But I also want us to be mindful of our daughters, of our younger siblings, of those around us that may be in abusive relationships and don't have a way of understanding. One of the things that I always encourage is let's not be judgmental. Many times they do not know, they cannot see the difference, they cannot distinguish it. So if we become pushy, if we put pressure, if we bring them down, if we question their intelligence, their motives, we are not helping. We're actually making things worse. Let's befriend them. Let's make sure that we stay engaged. Let's make sure that we're near. Let's make sure that we can put our arms around them and walk that journey with them. But what is abuse and why sometimes people don't realize it, particularly sexual abuse? Many times we think that sexual abuse, for it to be sexual abuse, has to be a penetration or a forceful situation where you were raped or where you were taken advantage of in a very drastic, violent manner. Yes, that happens and that is sexual abuse. However, something as simple, if we can even use that word, as someone telling a joke that is of sexual nature that makes you uncomfortable is already a violation of your boundaries. And when you are constantly exposed to that, when you have a sibling that pushes you, when your brother does not care and still tells you those things and wants to talk about these descriptive, explicit ways, is abusing you sexually. It is damaging, violating, pushing something into an area of your sexuality, the one that is in the psyche, the one that you can hear through your ears, and is violating, is changing the nature and the state of that. So even just that constitutes abuse. And if you were an object of these conversations that other people had without being mindful that you were present, all of that starts to damage your ways of receiving, giving, perceiving, accepting, engaging in sexuality. If you were touched in ways that were inappropriate, and sometimes if our vagina was not touched or our behind was not touched, we feel that it was just distasteful or a little bit of a pushy something, and we don't classify it as abuse. But if you were touched, even in a gentle, sensual way that you did not allow or invite, then that is an abuse that is being done to you. We need to be clear that We decide, we invite, we allowed of our own willingness and of our own desire. But when these situations take place, and we're not going to talk about physical abuse and verbal abuse, which all of those typically accompany sexual abuse, but I want to concentrate on the fact that you can be redeemed, you can be rescued from sexual abuse, from the trauma that leaves years of pain and years of inadequacy, feeling inadequate in your life. Number one, when we can identify this abuse, when we can identify and you can say, you know what, I never thought that was abuse, that happened to me. If you find yourself running away from engaging with your spouse, if you're finding yourself running away from knowing someone, from engaging even in a relationship because it scares you, let's try to look in the back of your mind. What about that is scaring you? What about that is frightening? What about that is making you go back and forth because you're fighting wanting, but you're fighting something. And oftentimes we find that there's been some sort of sexual abuse that has been done to you and makes you run away. In this day and age, you do have a voice. We are not crazy extremist feminists that are going to dismantle and kill all men and that are going to go through all of the systems finding the injustice. But we are women that are empowered. And in this day and age, we do not need to take any type of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, any kind of abuse. Authorities are there. And if they are not there, we are there. And I hope that you have a knit circle of people to support you and to be with you. And if not, reach out. Find communities of women who empower other women in healthy ways, embracing who we are, and that as humans, we have rights to be safe, to be individuals. You don't need to be in relationships that are abusive. You don't need to remain in those relationships. And if the past experiences is damaging your current relationship, there are things that you can do to start a journey for wholeness, for healing. Number one of the things is talk about it. As soon as you recognize something, even if you're not sure what it is, even if you cannot explain it the way that I would, or the way that another woman that has gone before you and has already experienced a little bit more of a healing process could. But in the best terms that you can, I am afraid. Try to identify what are the feelings. I feel insecure, I feel inadequate. And engage in that conversation until you start understanding some of the whys and some of the lies that have remained in your mind and in your heart from previous experiences. Because sometimes even your own mother may have invalidated those feelings and silenced you in relationship to being abused. Oh, the same thing happened to me and I'm okay. Oh, when I was little, my uncle so-and-so did that too. Well, if you're okay, that's great for you, but you know what? I'm not okay. And I'm experiencing this with shame, with pain, with running away, with shyness, with I'm not good enough, with I'm ugly or I'm stupid or I'm easy. And that is not true. That is not what God says about you. He says that you are beautiful, that you were special, that He took time to invest in you, to deposit beautiful things in you. And it doesn't matter what the cost is, He already paid it. He already did that transaction for you. Now, is this going to be a painful process? Yes. Do I want to make it seem like it's so easy, like, get a glass of water and just pour water into it? No, it's not. Is it seamless? No, it's not. There's going to be butts and bumps and on the road, but it is doable. So start identifying what are some of those feelings, what are some of the fears that you're experiencing. Who are some of the people that make you feel safe? And who are some of the people that do not make you feel safe? So that you can start strengthening your circle, so that you can start cleaning a little bit of your circle. Because the better and the more comfortable that you feel with the people that are around you, the easier these conversations are going to be, and the easier that you're going to be able to find a resolution or the beginning of your healing. I know that this is a very deep topic, something to treat on a podcast so brief, we don't even get to touch on much of it. But one thing I can tell you, there is hope. You can be restored. You can start the journey again. God is a God of second, third, fourth, fifth, and a million endless opportunities. If you want to do some deeper work on this topic of sexual abuse, sexual harassment that you've experienced that has traumatized you, reach out through our website for an individual clinic where you and I get to work individually, specifically on the things that are tormenting you and empowering you and giving you tools so that you can re-engage in sexuality and embrace everything God has meant for you. The website is ccicounseling.com, ccicounseling.com, and when you're there, take advantage of all the free resources we have created just for you. I'll see you on the next episode.